Hello there. My name is Al, and this is part of a series of videos that I've compiled over time to do with batch files and using the command prompt. And what I wanted to do, according to the title of this video, is make a batch file that, well, several batch files that are useful for searching for things on your drive. I know that in the Windows environment, this is still Windows, it's just a small view of a command prompt. And this here image, it's not really an image, this is text, and the color is part of it. These boxes can have colors, as you know. If you've ever been used edit or something, you know that we can have various colors. And that's the best I can do for a background image in this format. If you're following the C++ series, you'll know that I spent quite a lot of time in this using this format for the videos, and I find that even though it's lacking, all the graphics, it's easier to focus on what's going on, at least for you. And I tend to use capitals in this environment. Alright, now the first thing that I want to mention is that the reason I'm going to make the next batch file is because of a problem that occurred to me today. And the problem ended up costing me a lot of time and effort because I didn't have this facility to quickly check something that I would have found out immediately what the problem was if what I had typed had responded the way that I want this new command to respond. Alright, now I already have a batch file. Pardon me for a second. I just hate that. I hate that. I just got a phone call from a number, a 3-digit number, and that means it's an automated advertisement, which caused me to get up and have to walk over, find my phone, and then silence it. Anyway, I already have a batch file called FF for file find, or find file, in which if you provide a specific file name, like let's say Notepad with the extension, it prints out where it is. That is, for things that are in the path. It'll find something in the path. Okay? I think it might even allow me to specify an environment variable. Let's see. Yeah, I can supply an environment variable. So I can do this. Do I know of any environment variables, or there might be something? VS tools, I think I call it. Maybe the second argument. Whoops. First it would be SpyXX. I just have to have that. Oh, it did find it. Okay. Now, that's also in my path, it turns out. That's SpyXX. Okay, now here's the problem. I have this other batch file. I have many batch files, and one of the batch files I have is one called Mark. Okay, and what that does is, let's see, you see how I got quickly to this directory? And that's because I made a mark called RET that takes me here. And the way to create that I create a mark is I just type the letters mark. Let's make a new directory. Something that I would have to type a lot to get there. So here's a directory. Now I can say mark, and now I can supply any name or just press enter. But I'm going to call it Z. So delete me, so I'll remember to delete it later. Okay. Now I'll go back to where we were. Maybe back further. We'll go somewhere. Now, if I want to get back there, all I have to do is type Z-del-me, and I'm back there. See? Now, the way that works is it created a batch file called Z-del-me, and I can look at all of the ones that I have by typing marks. See, and that's in fact the last one in the list there. So, first thing is, another way I can mark a directory is by not supplying an argument, like that. And what that will do is it's going to make a batch file with this name that takes me here. And if I look at marks, this is probably in alphabetical order. You should find one called attrib.px. Here it is. See? Well, these names are in fact batch files. And they're in a special location. They're in here. Okay, now all that marks thing was doing was giving me a directory listing, but cleaning out all this other stuff I didn't want to see. Now, so that definitely takes me back to here. Now, if I want to get rid of, suppose I have one I want to get rid of it, because the thing that messed me up was that I had a mark, and the name of that mark conflicted with something. In order to get rid of it, prior to what I did, I would have to type unmark. I could go to that directory and delete it, or I can type unmark, and I have to specify exactly the name. Had to, not anymore. But that's not important. I probably still have a bug in it. Cannot find this label. Go to EOS. Go to EOS. I have to. It said success. That was the label, right? Success. Oh, 3 S's. Three S's. Success. Okay. I think it works though anyway. It's gone. Now, but the other thing that I did, because the one that I had a mark for, which messed me up, was this. Somehow or other, I must have typed Mark here. Okay. Now, if I type text in Cryptor, which I would never type anyway, well, now I fixed that problem another way, but if I ran it as an extension, it would take me here. And but I wanted to do not only fix that problem that this thing conflicted with another program I have. You didn't really see. It ran this program with the same name. I would like to unmark this thing, but I don't want to type in all those letters because, you know, this is days later. I just want to say unmark and just, I know it's text something, whatever. Okay, now it told me. It just took the first bit of what I typed and did a search and found something that matched. If there's an ambiguity, like suppose I say unmarked US, it says it's ambiguous, could be one of these two, don't know. Alright. Sorry, you may have noticed that this word just suddenly appeared here. In fact, a few hours went by. Whoops. In the wrong one. A few hours went by and it was taking too long, so I'm going to try and start again from this point. And as you can see, I've made that mark, right? Now if I type, and what I've done is, let me do it again. Now I know I'm using this marks and jumping back and forth and not explaining that. I could. How much time total? Hang on a sec. Okay, I can show you that, I think, fairly quickly. Now, bat, turns out, is always in my path. That's I define it as system global path. So any batch files that I have that are in this path will always be available, including the mark one. Now the way this works is using the redirection and piping. First, I'm calling it. I'm either providing a name or not. This test here, I can't compare something with nothing, so I put a character here, and I've set this variable called mark name to the first argument passed in, if there is one. If there isn't one, then this thing with the percents will return blank, and I would have underscore equals underscore, and this would be true. And then I'm calling a function that will create the name, which will create the name for me. Okay. And if that fails, for some reason it shouldn't. Actually, this isn't gonna work. I deleted fail. I don't know. Just go to end of file. Okay, so by this point, I know for sure that there is something called mark name, and it's a regular old name. How did this work? Well, I have another video on here that describes how to use batch subroutines. So go and look at that one first, and you can understand how a call works. Okay, now that you've done that, or if you already know, what am I doing? I'm calling. I'm using one. I don't know why. Oh, what? Well, I wanted everything in uppercase. Okay. Now I have another batch file called string.bat. Okay, and it has various internal subroutines that I can call. And one of those subroutines takes a value, a regular string value. So this could be anything. It's what I typed in, and the name of an environment variable that I want the result to be stored in. And this one's called toUpper, so that changes whatever I had into uppercase. Don't ask me why, but I just like it in uppercase. That's irrelevant. This part, though, is, again, I have another video that explains how to create batch script libraries with functions in them. So this string thing has more than one. This string.bat does more than one thing. It can make things uppercase. It can tell me if a thing is numeric, and various other goodies. Now I just want to create a batch file. So I'll give you an example of a mark batch file. How about that one I just made? Text encryptor. Sorry. Okay. Now here is the result that I want finally. The actual directory where this thing got moved, and that's what caused me the problem, because the batch file, this batch file was, as it is now, it was failing. Okay, but I didn't realize it was a batch file at all. But anyway, this is the result I want, and I'm sitting at a certain directory, and I've called this mark, and somehow or other, a name has been provided, either by me, by typing it in, or through this make name, right? Now this one, I just hand edit. I just typed mark with no parameters, and this is supposed to say that, and then I just went and edited. Remove this to make it invalid. Okay. Now, so how do we do that? Well, first I'm just echo off this line into batch path, which is cbat marks, and then the name of the file I want, .bat, and then another echo cd/d. Now %cd just gives you the current directory. Alright, so that would have been, that was Windows here before, and this double arrow appends, so that'll append to the file another line, and this is the same file name, and then I'm done. So that's how you mark it. If I call this batch file, it will promptly change directory /d, just in case there's a change in the drive, to this specific path. which doesn't actually exist. Okay, so if I type text encryptor, I get that. Now this is what happened. I start up the. I never type text encryptor. Instead, I have a batch file that types that in for me, called TE. Right, and that's what this does. See, it uses the Windows Start thing. This is the title, no title, and it's supposed to quit. Otherwise, I'll be sitting at the command line waiting for the program to exit. So if I type TE like this, what happened was I got this. Okay, cannot find the path specified, and I got blank here, and I got all confused. And it turned out that the problem was that there was this batch file. Now, I tried this with my old Finder. Like that, and I found text encryptor.exe. And eventually I realized after hours, well, first thing I did was I made a mistake and I typed only that. Now I have a copy of my old. I've already fixed this. I took a long time writing the new FF. The old version is still there though. I call it FF old. And I didn't provide the exe. And in this case, it's going to say that, of course, it's not found in the path. Now the way this finding something in the path works, cman is it's my way of getting at Unix people or Linux people. They have their man pages. I have my man pages. Now where is it described? For maybe, or set. It's either for or set. Look for a $sign. Okay, it's definitely for. Okay, now to search through a path string, what you do, this is for these single letter IJK things that you use with the for command. The for command is a very detailed and complicated command to use. Usually you use it in a batch file, but you can use it if you want directly on the command line. You can't do much. And these are like the %1, %2, and so on that get passed into a batch file. And if you put %wiggle and then a $sign, and then it doesn't have to be tab, it could be any environment variable, colon I, assuming that you're doing a for loop with the letter I as your variable name, then it will search all of the directories listed in the environment string. Alright? Now why not explaining for? I'm explaining how this old version of file find thing works. I can forget now if I already said, but I can provide an environment string as well. Okay, but the problem is there's more than one, and what I would like this to do is what it does now. Is if I don't provide a extension, I want it to search all of all of the path extensions that are the valid. These are the extensions, the valid extensions that will run from the command line without you having to specify it. It's delimited by semicolons, and in theory, bat follows exe. It should come later. But because of the peculiar way it searches, it goes by directory first and then by extension. So it hit the batch directory before it hit my marks directory first and ran the batch file from there because there was no exe out with the name. And what I wanted my FF to do is this. Right? I wanted it to list. And it's coming out in the order. This thing is on purpose searching in the order that the operating system searches. So this is the first match that will come up according to the rules of path extension and path. I could also provide an environment variable too. It would do that as well. Now, it took me a while to figure out this thing, and it involves the use of for. And I guess I'm just going to try and explain how this works. First off, okay, now this here, you noticed a beep. Let me put a beep here. That is a bell character, and the way to make a bell character is Control P first, and then hold the Alt key down and press 7 on the numeric keypad and release, and you'll get a bell. So if I don't put any argument, which is what this determines, quote, letter A, input argument, quotes removed, another quote, this whole thing results in the letter A if I don't provide an argument. However, it's a safety that if the argument happens to be something that was initially in quotes and had spaces, then I'm doing a quoted comparison, and if it initially didn't have spaces, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so if I just type FF, I get that beep, and it tells me what I'm supposed to do. And this is optional. Extension is optional. What I had before, I could say exe, and it just finds the exe version. Using that thing, it's down here somewhere. $, this is actually in a variable format, but that's fine. Okay, now this is where your knowledge of batch files has to be incremented. You need to know about this delayed environment variable stuff. You see, I might not want to use path. I might want to use another environment variable, like, let's say, include, right? Okay, fair enough. Suppose I want to use include. And that's what this is asking. If the second parameter is not empty, same comparison, then I would like to say, first I'm saving off the what was passed in, letter for letter. No, this is not correctly named. This should say var data or something. I wonder if I can do that quickly. Does this do whole word? I'll try. It does. Case and word. That looks better. Okay, so here the name is, let's like include or something, right? And the data is whatever is in it, right? But this thing is already a variable. I don't know what that is. So what I need to do is turn this into a, what this was. Unfortunately, another thing you have to know about batch files is that the delayed stuff within an if, this will not be resolved by the time I get to here. I can't use it. I can't use the magic trick that I'm about to tell you about within an if. I could do it later on, but here's the place, and it doesn't make any difference. So I can use %2, and I can use these exclamation points, which work exactly like a %, except it's a different character, and that allows you to do this, right? But with a thing that has a %. So it's in the C world, it's star and another star. It's a double D reference in this case. Now that reads exactly like this. In the case of path, I know the name already, so I don't need any special exclamation points. In this case, I don't know what the name is, so I need to do it twice. Get the value, and then get the value of the value. All right. Now here I'm checking if the extension for the first parameter is blank. And that, again, your knowledge of how to use these things is crucial. X, if it's a 1, 2, 3 or IJK type environment variable, %, wiggle, X, it gives you the extension. This is the corresponding thing for %1. And if all I get back is A from that, then the extension didn't give me. This gives me the extension. If I didn't get anything, all I get is the letter A. And then I have a special thing, specific search. Here's my old search. Now, here I'm again checking for something being empty. It's always the same. Always quotes. Add quotes and remove quote. Remove and then add, just in case there are spaces. So now, var data, as you recall, is the actual data actual data in the variable, right? And that's funny. Why wouldn't I use var name in this case? Well, I guess that's the way it works. Right, okay. Turns out that this is the way it works. Var data, again, here is just real string with paths in it, like path, in fact. Yes, okay, so it's exactly like if this were the word path, right? And that's what you're supposed to do if the name of the environment variable is path, you put the letters path here. In this case, the name of the environment variable is var data, and so we put that in here. It might actually be path. It might be this data might be the data from the path, or from something else. or anything typed in. If I get nothing, print out an error. Otherwise, this gives me, as you've seen, a path search for the program or whatever file I typed in within the data in this variable. Okay, if you understood that, and I don't know if you have or could even, it's hard to explain this stuff. Alright, now the difficult case, not the specifics. This is a one-liner. Really, this is all you're supposed to, all you need. But I'm being friendly and telling the user that it wasn't enough. And I should also say that here. Now, it's so hard. I should do a tutorial just on for. Okay, first I'm saving off the file name I'm looking for, or whatever I typed in. The first thing, save that off. This here, I'm calling the remainder of whatever's left in the path variable. Okay, might not be path. It could be include, but I'm basing the logic on path. This flag will tell me whether or not the pattern was found somewhere in the path using the method that the operating system uses for its search. Okay, this is just a label. Now the way this works is for/f normally is used for searching and line by line through a file and doing something with the data on each line. Okay. However, it has the added feature that one of the features of this thing is that it doesn't have to be a path; it can be a string, and it will treat the string as though it had grabbed it from a file. As a single line of a file, right? Now, for goes through line by line, in this case a single line that we specified, and extracts tokens, things called tokens, that are delimited by some sort of delimiter. Normally the delimiter is white space or tab. But the environment variable path is delimited by semicolons. See, each element is separated from the next by a semicolon. So if you have a semicolon and you're allowed in a file name, then this won't work. And that's just too bad. You shouldn't put a semicolon in a path name, ever. I don't know why it is allowed. Okay, now I've called this thing path remain because this variable, after this line executes, the way it works is this. I want to extract the first token, assuming it's delimited by semicolon. So you say for/f tokens equals 1, and the star means plus everything else. This is the delimiter. This is the single letter variable where the result is of the search of the operation is stored. This here is just a string, so it's going to take using the tokenizing by semicolon, the first, everything up to the first semicolon will be stored into %, double percents because I don't know, it's just the way it is. It's double percents for this thing in a batch file and single percents at the command line. That's just the way it is. Then I'm setting I'm saving this off basically. Cur-dir, that's the head of the list, right? And setting past remain to the next letter. Now it turns out the next letter, that star, tokens star thing, means to store everything else into the next letter following what I specified. That's J. Okay, so this thing now will have truncated the head up, first part off. It's like tokenizing. Taking the first token out, and this is what's left. I've saved it off, and then I'm calling process, no arguments. Process dir. Process this directory. Okay? That directory is the first one in the list, and if we just started out. Now we have in that environment variable cur-dir, we have that's available to everywhere in that file, and I need to do another loop now through the extensions. So I'm doing the same thing again, saving off the path extension, right, into this thing, which is again going to be tokenized and go down and down and down. And by the time I get to this line, I will have explained this line. Sorry, this line. Same thing exactly, and I save off the remainder of the extensions into extension remainder, and I'm calling a function called process extension with a string that might have spaces, so I've got to put quotes, and this colon I is an extension you saw, like .com, .exe, etc. So it'll be a file name dot some extension, one of the magic extensions. Each time through that loop, this for will only execute once because it only extracts one token, and it's a single line, so it only does its thing once. At the end, now why am I? Oh, this is rem. That's just a comment. If the extension, I don't need any wiggles on this one because I know there's no quotes. I don't know why you can put quotes. I can get rid of those. Just for consistency, maybe. Yeah, I'll leave them for consistency. It looks like the other. I could even put the wiggle if I wanted. If the remainder is not empty, then go to next and just keep going until the remaining extensions is empty, and when that's done, then we'll finish this subroutine and we return. Process extension checks to see, using that same thing again, if this string is empty, which searches through the particular environment variable that we have called curdir for a match with %1, and %1 was provided here with an extension. So this is a loop within a loop. If we find something, we print it out and set that found thing to true. Otherwise, we're done this, and then this thing goes to the next until it finishes, which then returns and brings us back up here. And this now is checking to see, if the path, if there's anything left of the path. Eventually that will run out. That brings us to the final line, which checks if the found variable was ever set to something other than false, which it would have been if it found the thing passed in somewhere in the path. And I'm saying if it's not, if it's equal to false, then I'm saying I have not found whatever it was in this underscore, which was set initially either to the word path or the variable name set in, sent in. Phew! Now that does what I wanted it to do, and it took a while to get through it, and you'll probably have to rewatch that about 20 times and try it yourself before you see what's going on. But it does the thing that I wanted, which is that. And that is critical. If I was, like, for instance, I put Notepad. I made a batch file called Notepad. Right? Now this is showing me what the Notepad, all the notepads that could potentially be executed where they are. And I have made one in my batch directory, but that won't have any effect because this is the one it finds first, right? In this case, it found the batch one first. So there you go, a useful tool, a much simpler tool for searching is this, and I use this all the time, and this is quite simple. You just say dir with any sequence of letters that you think might be in a file name. Like I might here type dir enc, and it's doing dir/s/b. Now see, it's found a whole bunch of things with enc somewhere in the too much, right? I do that, it's encryptor. What else? Any something too much. Something I might not find a lot of. Not HTML, there's a lot of that. There's okay, well, I see the word beginner there. It's probably not much. I can do that again. Okay, so it's found me some things that have the word beginner. That dir is good when you can't remember exactly the name of something, and you know it's approximately where it is. These are long names. Like, let's see now, what's a good example? Something that I would typically search for, maybe in my pictures. Okay, how about, I know it's Chaben or something, right, for her name. Enco or something. See? I couldn't remember her name, but now I got it. That's very quick. Okay, that's it. And now I have to get back to my real thing. See you.